What's going on, everybody? My name is Caleb. This is Art. You are fearfully wonderful made. Today it's time for you to change the world. All right, so what I'm going to try to do today is I'm going to try to give you guys some, let me get this angle fixed, give you guys some explanation about some of the things that are happening in the country of Afghanistan in relation to, I think my camera keeps switching angles. I'm sorry, y'all. In relation to what's going on in Afghanistan. Now, I'm going to try to make this video less than 5 minutes. So if I go over 5 minutes, I'll just stop and I'll shoot another one later. And you can feel free to comment and ask me questions. I study history. This is going to be a really, really basic breakdown of it, but I'll try to explain it to you as best as I can in my own words, basically. All right, so what's happening is we're going to go to 1978. This goes all the way back to 1978. So that was what, 40 years ago, 42 years ago. So 42 years ago, 1978, roundabout, there is a war, but it's not an actual war. It's kind of like a war of ideas between the United States and the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union is a communist bloc of nations. And the Soviet Union was basically trying to spread communism or the Soviet Union ideas throughout Europe and Asia. And so the United States and, England and NATO, they're trying to stop it and try to stop the Soviet Union from spreading and like all that stuff. So one of the things that we did was there was a place in the world that was actually doing a good job at resisting the advance of the Soviet Union. This place is called Afghanistan. Now, in Afghanistan, there was a group of people, a religious organization, a religious military organization known as the Mujahideen. The Mujahideen was actually approached by the United States government, and we said, hey, we want to supply you with weapons and arms to defeat the Russians, or at least hold the Russians at bay. So we gave the Mujahideen weapons and arms to help beat the Russians. Basically, it was like we're the big gang, and we're supplying like this little city gang with weapons to beat another big gang. Like we're not directly fighting that big gang, but we're giving this one small gang on the block extra guns to beat that big gang, and so that we don't have to fight them directly, but we still can stop them. So that's what we did. Give the Mujahideen these weapons. Soviet Union cannot beat the Afghans. It's like an impossible terrain. There's so many mountains. They can't beat them. Soviet Union basically leaves it alone. We called the Mujahideen. They're like, hey, yo, we helped you win. The Soviet Union's dismantled. Let's get our weapons back. The Mujahideen was like, no, we're not giving you our weapons back. Type of drugs. So we were like, oh, man, that's trash. Well, as it were, the Mujahideen kind of fell apart and redeveloped themselves and reemerged as the Taliban, which means that, yes, the United States government did give weapons to the Taliban. Anyways, so we did that, and we're like, oh, snap, crackle, pop, this is bad. Same time, around about the same time, there's this guy from Saudi Arabia, a rich guy, rich businessman, with very fanatical ideas about his religion, and he moves to Afghanistan. Some people think that he was even a former CIA agent, but we cannot prove that. What is his name? Osama bin Laden. Is any of this starting to sound familiar? If you were a millennial, this probably makes a lot of sense. If you're a Gen Zer, probably not. All my millennials are like, oh snap, we see where this is going. So, the United States had allegedly supplied Osama bin Laden with information and technology via CIA operative in the Middle East as well. Fast forward to September 11th, 2001, Twin Towers get hit. We had to blame somebody, so we blame Afghanistan. We blame the Taliban network in Afghanistan and so we tell them we're gonna pull out, but we don't. We kind of stay there for a while. So then what we do is we after, around about the end of the Trump administration, Trump was like, yo, we're going to pull these guys out. We're going to do it slowly and surely. One of the things about the East is the East doesn't work the same way that the West does, right? The Taliban and their affiliates have been waiting in Afghanistan to reemerge with power. Trump had a slow pullout program. Biden had a quick pullout program. Biden's like, yo, we're pulling everybody out right away. When we pulled everybody out right away, the Taliban was already ready. They had been sitting on these guns and these weapons that they hadn't given up. They began to sweep through Afghanistan. The Afghanistan military, some people think the Afghanistan military was basically expecting the United States to protect them for the rest of their lives, for forever and ever. And so a lot of military of Afghanistan, the police in Afghanistan, they began to surrender to the Taliban immediately. Now, they didn't have the weapon skills to fight against the Taliban because we were the ones that were fighting for them for real. But they did have our weapons. They did have our tanks. They did have all that stuff. So now who has all of our stuff? The Taliban does. It's like 1970 all over again, right? Then what else happens? What else happens is apparently the Afghanistan military was not paying the Afghan fighters to fight against the Taliban or anything. So the Taliban was like, yo, we'll give you some cash if you just give us the guns and run away, or else we'll kill you. And the guys were like, well, we don't want to die and we want money because we never had money for a while time. So that happens. Another thing that happened is when we pulled our United States military out, we left the Afghan military with the supplies to fight against the Taliban. But when we pulled out all of our people, it's basically like leaving somebody with an Xbox and taking the Xbox and the controller and the video games, and then taking the batteries, right? And then like taking the batteries and not plugging it in and just walking off, right? So it's like, oh, I got all this stuff, but I can't play. I can't do anything with it. It's literally pointless to me. So the Afghan military couldn't fight back, and so that happened. And so basically the Taliban came and swept in. Now, another problem is we were supposed to extract there's a lot of people in Afghanistan who were working for the United States government, were working for the Italian government, working for the British government. They were working as translators and operators, and they were making suitable lives there. Remember, we had been in Afghanistan for 20 years, so we had created a suitable lifestyle for these people. And now these people do not have that suitable lifestyle, and they, and they don't know how to interact. The lifestyle that they used to have, they no longer have. The Mujahideen movement was very brutal. They believed in a very strict enforcement of the Quran. They believed in women having to cover up their faces. They believed in women not getting educated. They believed in women not having government. They didn't believe in anybody who wasn't. Their strict variation of Islam being in power. And so for 20 years, Afghanistan has been kind of like at a state of normalcy. And now women who are in government, women who are in education, women who are in school, they're in danger. There's stories of women teachers being tortured. The Afghan government, the Taliban government also allows for basically, without being disgusting about it, they allow for, I don't know the right way to say it, but they basically allow for bad things to happen to little girls. They allow for if you're a widow under the age of 40, and you're a young lady over the age of 14, you're basically open territory for children making, whether you want to or not. That's the best way to say it. And so that's a very big problem. Christians, they're sending letters to Christian churches and saying, hey, we know who you are. We're coming for you. A lot of those people, have been operating in freedom for 20 years. Now it's very possible that their lives are in danger. There's women who are in government in Afghanistan. They're in danger. There are people who operated as operatives for the United States government. They're in danger. It's a very, very precarious situation. So that's basically the education about it. I believe that there are plans and ways to donate to Afghanistan refugees who are trying to sneak out of the country, trying to run out the country. I don't know exactly how that works. If you're a Christian and you're watching this, I would encourage you to just pray that God would protect the church and protect the innocent women and children and men in Afghanistan, and hope that somehow we create a way to remedy the situation. But it looks like it's not going to be easily rectified immediately. So there's that one. I did go over it. I recognize this is probably more like 8 minutes and less of 5 minutes, but that's that. I just want to encourage you, though, with this information. Don't let this information deprive you or like make you feel bad, but instead let's go out there and find ways to change the world and make the world a better place. My name is Caleb. This is Art. You are fearfully wonderful, man. Today it's time for you to change the world.